Before working with your activities, histories, and calendars, you might decide to change some of the default settings for each of these areas. In this video, I want to show you where you can change your preferences for your calendar views and your default activity settings. To begin, log into ACT and then click the Tools button in the left navigation. From here, click the Email Calendar Tools button at the top. Now locate the Calendar Preferences button and click that also. This lists 3 sections of calendar preferences that you can choose. Let's begin with the Calendar Work Days area. Here I can change my first day of the work week from Monday to Tuesday, for example. I can also set the number of work week days. So some companies work 4 days of 10 hours, and in this case, I'm going to change the days to 4 and then change my start times maybe from 7 a.m. to my end time of 6 p.m. This will affect my work week calendar view, which we're going to look at in just a bit. Next, let's look at the Calendar Increments section. In this area, I can segment the daily and work week calendars to the duration specified here. By default, it's set to 30 minutes, but I'm going to change the daily calendar to show 15-minute increments, and then maybe the work week calendar will show 60-minute increments. Last on this screen are the calendar options themselves. Here you can change the first day of the week and also the first week of the year. You can also enable or disable pop-ups for your calendars, activities tabs, and task lists. Finally, choose whether you want to display full day banners for activities whenever they extend beyond your chosen duration threshold. Let's click OK now and see how this appears on the calendar. I'm going to click Calendar and Task List on the left, and then at the top I want to make sure I have Calendar selected. Now let's go to the Work Week calendar. Notice that the first day of our work week is now Tuesday, and also notice that it's a 4-day work week. Our highlighted time ranges from 7 a.m. all the way down to 6 p.m. as specified. Finally, the incremented times on this calendar are for 60 minutes as we chose. Now if we switch to the daily calendar, we'll see that the incremented times have been set for 15-minute slots. Okay, let's look at our activity types now to see their default settings. In the menu at the top, I'm going to choose Schedule and then choose Activity Types. The Manage Activity Types screen lets us set a default priority, ring alarm, and duration for each activity that we schedule. To edit one of these, the Call Activity type, for example, click it to highlight it and then click the Edit button. Now it's worth noting here that we're only changing the default settings for when we launch the Add Activity screen. Each of these can be edited as we create activities going forward. So to start, maybe I want my phone call activities to have a purple color instead of blue. Let's change this color to purple. I'm going to leave the priority default as low with no ring alarm, but maybe I usually book all my call activities for 30 minutes instead of 15. I'm going to change that default setting to 30. That's really all I want to do now, so I'm going to click the OK button and then click Yes to apply this new color setting to all existing activities of this type. I could go through one by one and edit the default settings for all of the other activity types listed here, but I'm going to just do that later. And now because I've edited the call activity type, you can see that it's bold-faced in this list. Down below there are a few other settings that I can change, but I'm just going to click the Save Changes button to finalize my edits here. Now let's create a new call activity. I always like to look up a contact first so that it pre-populates the fields in a convenient way. So let's schedule a call with Becky Sawyer. I'm going to go to her detail view and then click the Call button at the top of the screen. This opens up the Add Activity drawer from the right, and notice now that the default duration is 30 minutes instead of 15. I can still change this if I need this to be a longer phone call, but the default has been set for me. Also, if I scroll down, we'll see that the new color for all of my call activity types is purple. While we're on the subject of setting our preferences, I don't want to forget about the most important preference setting of all, and that's the time zone setting. In fact, if you've never set any of your date and time preferences, that's easy to do. So let's click Tools in the left navigation, and then we'll click the Preferences button at the top. From here, click Date and Time, and now we can see the date and time preferences screen. In the Dates section, This is where you'll set your styles for short and long date styles. Whether you go by day, month, year, or month, day, year, or even year, month, day, there's probably a selection here that fits best for you. In the time area, you can set your clock to either a 12-hour or 24-hour style. And of course, most importantly, be sure to set your time zone so that everything you schedule shows up at the right time on your calendar. Now we'll click OK. The final preference that we need to check is for history creation settings, and these are located in the Startup Preference area. From here, locate the history creation at the bottom, and these default settings speak specifically to when you manually create a history record. Here you need to set the type first, and then decide on a default result for each type. So let's say when I create a manual call history, I want the default result to be call received, since most of my manual histories will be when other people call me. I could go through and change the default histories for the other types, but I'm going to stop at just this one example and click OK. Now when I look up a contact and I click the history button for them, we'll see that the default result is now call received instead of call attempted. So by changing some simple preference settings like these, you can save yourself a lot of time when entering or editing records in ACT.